on, please. So, 380, questions 6 and 7, page 395, please. Questions 4, 5, 6. 395, 4, 5, 6. So, very good. Graph the points -2, 3, 1, and 2, 1, and -2 on an x, y, z graph. Now, we haven't spoken about it, though it might show up. Basically, it's the same exact thing as an x, y graph, it just has another dimension. Got it? So, if you have x and y, right? This is the x and that is the y, right? And how would you create another z?
Put a line.
You can say, for example, it's going to be this one. Got it? So it's going to be like a 3D space, So, -2, 3, and 1, that's going to be -2. 3 is going to go here. And 1, you go here, right? Yeah. -2 and a 3 would have been here, right? But -2, it's slightly difficult to show it. This is -2 and a height of 3. סליחה?
זה אמור להיות מינוס 1 זה, לבד את ה...
מה זאת אומרת מינוס 1 זה?
זה.
למה מינוס 1 זה?
לא, כי אז זה כאילו יהיה בכיוון של המינוסים.
לא, כרגע לא. זהו, קצת קשה לדמיין את זה, אבל כרגע זה לא, זה לא בתוך הלוח וזה לא מחוץ ללוח, בסדר? זה על המישור הזה. זה על המישור הזה. ואז על המישור הזה, אז בעצם זה אחד קדימה. אחד קדימה על הזה, אז זה פה. קצת קשה לי להראות את זה אחרת.
כי אולי אפשר...
את יכולה להסתכל על...
מה זה הדבר הזה?
The book has a drawing.
כאילו, ממש הבנתי את משהו.
לא, הנקודה הכי חשובה זה, בדרך כלל גם בבחינה הם יציירו את זה עבורך, בסדר? וישאלו אותך שאלות על מערכת מצוירת.
אז לא לצייר את זה?
מה, את בדרך כלל לא תצטרכי. טוב, שאלה מספר 5 בבקשה. What is the distance from point A to point B in the figure? It's not going to show. Forget about that. Forget about 4 and 5. Yeah. Question number 6. The two containers with rectangular sides, how do we call these? We call these?
Boxes.
Boxes, exactly. Cool. So, what is the difference between a box and a brick?
Brick is like a cube.
Exactly. I'm sorry?
It's open.
Exactly. A box you can fit things inside, but a cube or a brick is not. It's a rectangular solid, right? So we have 4, 6, and 10. We have 8, 8, and 12. Two containers with rectangular sides in the figure above have an interior dimensions as shown. Both containers rest on a flat horizontal surface. Container A is filled completely with water. I'm sorry? Yeah. So it's filled completely with water. So I'm assuming it's going to have something to do with volume, exactly. So it's going to be 4 by 6 by 10, right? So that's going to be 240. Agreed? So this is 240 what? Cubic what? Inches. What is a cubic inch? It's a cube. Exactly. That is an inch by inch by inch. An inch is how many centimeters long? 2.5. 2.5, נכון. אז זה הרבה יותר מסמ"ק, זה הרבה יותר מסנטימטר קוב. זה 2.5 על 2.5 על 2.5. And the water is then poured without spilling into container B. So basically, this 240 is going to be spilled into this. Now, pay close attention. This has
8 times
8 times 8, and that is the area of the base. Now, remember that the 240, this looks like a bigger box, right? So that means that the 240 are not going to fill the entire box, right? It's going to go, I don't know, somewhere here, right? And probably the question is going to be, what is the height of the water, right? Now, we said that the volume of every 3D shape is going to be the area of the base times the height, right? Now, the area of the base is 8 by 8, right? Which is 64, right? And the height is...
240 divided by...
Fantastic. So 240 is 64 is like 8 by 8 by x. This and that is 30 over 8 The question is, what is the depth of the water? Yeah. So 30 over 8, oh, come on, that's 3.5. Yeah, 3,
7.5.
7.5, yeah. 6/8.
Yeah.
Yep. And I told you back then that it was a very powerful formula, you know, the area of the base times the height. Do you have any quantitative questions, like 2 or 3? Well,
No.
do you have any quantitative questions?
No.
Okay. So we're going to start with quantitative. We'll do only quantitative for the next like 45 minutes as well, and then we'll take a break and then we'll move on to the book. So what do you take away from this?
רק לא ידעתי לעשות, כאילו לא הבנתי אם זה 12 פחות או 3, מה שאומרים.
Actually, the 12 is not that important. What's important is the area of the base times the height, right? And the height is the unknown, and you do know the volume. So again, it's like the slope that we had earlier, right? The slope of a half, and then you reverse engineer, you know, the parts that make it up. Moving on, please, page.
היית יכול לעשות גם את הנפח של V פחות הנפח של A. וזה יותר הפרש.
So what does that give
שזה
you?
יותר קל.
What's it? How?
חישוב פשוט פה, פשוט פה.
And that would have given you this. Okay, so
ואתה
what?
יודע כמה נשאר לך? מה שזה
So what you tell me is this. Calculate this volume, calculate all of this volume, do this minus that, then you get this volume. After you have this volume, you calculate 8 times 8 times whatever the height, you find the height, and then you do 12 minus. That was much stronger. Yeah. Let's just copy it. Yeah, that's that was a bit of an overkill. Page 397, questions 5, 6, 7. Question number 5, who's this? Who's this? של מי 5? 397, שאלה מספר 5, של מי זו?
7 היה רק קידם אותה.
לא, לא שווה.
כן, באמת?
למה?
כן, שאלה קשה.
לא, אבל שמתי את זה.
זה פשוט עם השטח שטחים בריבוע.
לא.
כן, כן.
כן, זה משולשים.
היה משהו, נכון שיש שם 30 דומים, אבל זה לא דומה. אני אראה עוד שנייה, יש שם משהו קצת יותר טריגי. So who's 5?
שלי.
Okay. A cereal company sells oatmeal. יופי שהגעתם מוכנים. A cereal company, לפחות חלקה. A cereal company sells oatmeal in 2 sizes of cylindrical containers. So immediately we go like, hey, it's the area of the base pi r squared times the height. And they even gave us, right, but we don't need their, you know, favors. The smaller container holds 10 ounces of oatmeal. So we have large, right, and we have small, right? And the small holds 10 ounces. Ounces, נפח מסוים.
25.
If the larger container has twice the radius of the smaller container, so this is pi times r squared times h. Now, mind you, I used a lowercase r and a lowercase h. Why? Because it's the smaller dimensions, right? This one's going to have an uppercase r and an uppercase h. Thing is that there is some kind of ratio between them. So if the larger container has twice the radius of the smaller container. So mind you, the r is no longer an r. The r is?
4
No, the r itself is 2r, right?
בריבוע.
But when you square it, you get 4r squared, correct? And the height, which is 1.5 times the height of the smaller container, right? 1.5h, right? So the question is, what is this going to be? Got it? It's actually very simple. What you want to do is you want to reach pi r squared times h here, plug in a 10, and just multiply times what you have left. So pi times 4r squared times 1.5h equals what? That is a question, right? Now, if I want to construct this, then it's going to be pi r squared times h, right? But I'm also going to have times 4 times 1.5, which is times 6. Agreed? So if this is a 10, you just multiply times 6, and you get a 16. So the correct answer choice is C. What do you take from this? כל שאלה, אני מוכן לפתור עבורכם עשרות שאלות, מאות שאלות. מה אתם לוקחים מזה? לא, אני חושב בעיקר ההצבה, נכון? ההצבה הזאת.
אני לוקח ממש לא הבנתי את השאלה הזאת.
בסדר? עכשיו, נכון שהיא לא מסובכת? תשמעו, אם אני לא רוצה את השאלה הזאת, אז אני שואל את עצמי, must or maybe. It's a must question. I could have plugged in comfy numbers, by the way. I could have plugged in comfy numbers.
כתבתי 1 ואז כפלתי את זה
נכון, 2 שזה 4, נכון, נכון. אפשר לעשות זה, הדבר היחיד שמקלקל לך קצת את החגיגה כאן רוביק, זה שאומרים לך שהדבר הזה שווה למספר מסוים.
לא, עשיתי זה שווה למספר מסוים, ואז ראיתי שזה כאילו המספר צריך לעלות ב6.
הבנתי, בדיוק, לכפול אותו פי 6. נכון, אבל תזכור, בגדול, הנה זה כלל אצבע מאוד מאוד נחמד. תזכור שהרבה יותר קל להציב בביטוי מאשר במשוואה. נכון, זו משוואה. יש לך צד אחד שחייב להיות שווה לצד השני. הרבה יותר קל להציב בביטוי. ואם היו אומרים לך, you know, all of these, but they wouldn't have given you the 10 ounces. They just would have told you, okay, so the larger radius is 2r and the largest height, the greater height is 1.5. So then you could have said, okay, the radius is a 1 and the height is a 1 and that is it. So you would have gotten a volume that is 6 times that. God, would have been nicer. But you were able to circumvent that. Circumvent Lakov. So no? Moving on, please. So question 6. 6. Who's this? מי שלא נצחת 6?
גם שלי.
question number 6. אל תהיו אפולוגטים. מה זה אפולוגטים?
מתנצלים.
יפה. To apologize, נכון? אל תתנצלו, אל תרגישו לא בנוח. זו הסיבה שאתם כאן, תשאלו כמה שיותר שעות. חבל
לא,
שבאתם מכאן.
חלילה, למה? לא התנצלת.
לא, היא מחייכת וזה, ואנשים אומרים, תראה, שלי גם. לא,
אתה מעכב אותה, אתה לא שם לב?
שלי, הכל פה שלי.
The figure above shows a rectangle solid with a
פרינציפ
volume.
תעשה גם את 7.
אני עושה את שלי.
זה בסדר, זה לא בשבילך, הוא ירד אז פעם היא ביקשה את 7. The figure above shows a rectangle solid with a volume of 72 cubic units. Now, this is a 3 base ABCD has an area of 12 square feet. This is 12 square units. Now, if this is a 12, that means that this has to be 4, right? 3, 4, 2, 5. Agreed? Now, they also told, this is remember what we said, that the trick in many 3D questions is to work with 2D right triangles, מצוין, triangles, משולשים יש לזה דו-ממדיים, נכון מאוד. אז הנה זה מופיע עוד פעם. Now, they also told you that the volume of all of this entire thing is 72 cubic units, right? Now, we know again that the volume of every shape is the area of the base times the height, right? The area of the base is 3 by 4, which is 12, which means that the height has to be a 6. That's it. That's it. So that means that this rectangle is going to be 5 by 6, which is a 30. Yep. That's it.
שבע זה קשה.
Write down a question, please, before we move on to question 7. It's similar to what we have here. So it's 3D, the 3D question. So you have a cone, and halfway through the height of the cone, right? That's going to be 1/2. That's going to be 1. The height of 1, the height of 1/2. You pass a plane, you cut it. So you get a stool, right? מקבלים את דום כזה. שהראיות עומדים עליו? כולם רואים את זה? הדבר הזה. Sometimes. So the question is, what is the volume between this and that? You have 20 seconds. What is the ratio of the volume? Go ahead. Think. What is it? No. No. What did we say? We said that if we have two similar shapes, this has a height of 1. Remember, we also said that we plug in 1 for the smallest unit, right? Let's assume that this has a height of 1. What is going to be this height? 2, right? If this is parallel to that, are these two triangles similar to one another?
Yes.
Yes, they are, right? So if the linear ratio is 1 to 2, right? זה אחוז בין הגבהים, אבל גובה זה קו, נכון? So the linear ratio is 1 to 2. What's going to be the area ratio? 1 to 4, right? You square it. נכון? אז מרבעת את זה. 1 בריבוע זה 1 ו2 בריבוע זה 4, נכון? Okay. This is the same exact scenario if you look at it from the side. Mabat mehatzad, if you look at it from the side, it's the same exact thing. So everybody just try to look at it, instead of 3D, try to look at it from the side, as if you devoid this of a depth, right? So it's the same exact thing, it's the same exact scenario. The ratio of this cone to that. First of all, are these two cones similar to one another? Yes, they are. They're similar. What is the linear ratio of these two cones? 1 to 1 to 2. Right, because this is a height of 1 and that is a height of 2. What is going to be the volume ratio of these two cones? Bashlishit. So it's going to be 1 to 8. If you move from a linear, which is 1 dimension, to area includes 2 dimensions. What do? You square it, right? If you move from 1 dimension to 3 dimensions, the volume includes 3 dimensions. אני צריך חם מאוד היום. אני יודע שאני לא מרגישה, ממש חם. אולי את יכולה אולי גם לשבת שם ולפתוח את הדלת טיפה, אני פשוט ממש סבלתי בתחילת השם.
זה תקף גם על כאילו אישונים,
הכל. As if the ratio of the volume is 1 to 8, so this is going to be 1 cc, this is going to be 1 cc, and that is going to be 8 cc, right? Cc, cubic centimeters, for example. So if this is 1 cc and all of this is 8 cc, how much is the bottom one? 7 cc. So to answer my question from earlier, the ratio between this and that is 1 to 7. Got it? And it really doesn't look like it, right? But it is. We humans are very, very bad at estimating, different areas, let alone volumes. Volumes we're very bad at. If you take a pigeon into Kuyona, and you would give it, you'll give it some food, whenever it pecks at the greater area, it would always guess what the greater area is. Much better than humans, by the way. יונים הרבה יותר טובות מאיתנו בזה. באמת. כן, אני חושב שיש לזה איזשהו יתרון אבולוציוני. וזה לגבי דו-ממד. אנחנו רואים בדו-ממד. תלת-ממד אנחנו נוראים. We're really bad at it. So, please, know if you want to take away something from this, remember that if you have similar shapes, אם יש לנו שתי צורות דומות, similar shapes. If we have similar shapes, then we can take the linear ratio, Daniel, and we can cube it, and that is going to give us the volume ratio. Cube it. Cube. So either you raise it to the power 3 or you cube it. Cube it is just, נכון. So linear squared tall is area ratio. And linear cube is volume ratio. Got it? And again, it doesn't look like it, but it is. By the way, this method of not knowing how to solve a question and then asking whether it's a maybe or a must question and plugging in comfy numbers, it doesn't work here. Who wanted to question? It's yours, right? Question number 5. And question number 6. And it works on many, many of the questions that you guys are going to ask. In fact, it solves about 70% of the questions that you think you can solve by using this very simple, very, very smart method. But there are about 30% that, you don't have anything, you don't have what to plug in here, right? So it's not going to be beneficial here. It's not going to be helpful. Okay, moving on, please. Question 7 was a difficult question. And I'm sorry, I have to erase this. figure above shows a wedge-shaped holding,